The number one pickup of the week, 100% of your FAAB-worthy Tank Dell. I can't even believe I have to talk about him again. I cannot believe he's out there in over half of leagues. But here we are. He's still out there. Check your league. He did get dropped after coming back from his concussion, underwhelming against Carolina in a matchup a lot of people thought. FAAB, I saw him get cut in many leagues. Go check and see if you are in a league with anybody as idiotic as that. I actually had a college league where we have very short benches, only 3 players. So I had to. I'm going to be trying to scramble and go get this guy back. 11 targets, 6 catches, 114 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Tank Dell, playing with an insane quarterback right now in CJ Stroud, who sets the rookie record, 470 yards, 5 touchdowns. You're always going to have some viable fantasy products here, but this is not just a one-week flash. If anybody's been watching Tank Dell this year, and just for the record, too, he also barely missed a 90-yard TD bomb. Could have had 200 yards and 3 scores. That's the guy we're talking about here. He has now 5 games on the season with 80% or more routes. For week 1, wasn't on the field much, then had that concussion and injuries and was out. But in those 5 games with at least 80% routes, 23%, 25%, 12%, 19%, and 28% target shares. What has he done with that? 20, 26, 4, 6, and 30 fantasy points in those games. 3 of his 5 games have been bona fide wide receiver 1 stats. What else do you need me to say? It's consistent. We talked about it time and time again. CJ Stroud banged the table. I want this kid. We worked out with him at the combine, loved what they were doing together, and said, please go draft him. They listened, and boom. Now we're just getting that constant chemistry on display. And again, those impressive. Again, 3 games of 20 or more points. In all 3 of those games, he just barely missed a touchdown by about a yard in all 3 of those efforts. We could be talking about 3 30-point days on the year. And maybe more of those are going to come. The schedule doesn't look bad. And again, you know how good CJ Stroud is. Now, if you're in one of the normal leagues where Tank Dell is long gone, at least take a peek at Noah Brown, who's right there with those Darnell Mooney's, the Khalil Shakirs I mentioned earlier. 2% rostered, and yet he went for another back-to-back weeks now, leading the Texans in receiving yards. This time, 153 yards and a touchdown, a very impressive 75-yard catch and run, a great stiff arm near the goal line, and leaping into the end zone here. You do got to be a little cautious here, of course. Don't bid too much, 3 to 5% max, I'd say, because he's never previously, Noah Brown, had 100 yards, and essentially almost half of that came on a big catch and run. But he does look really good. And honestly, I always kind of liked the kid with the Cowboys. It would frustrate me when he was making play after play. Why isn't Amari Cooper getting this? What's going on here? But in the preseason, especially when I was playing sicko DFS, Noah Brown consistently made plays and was a guy I would go to the well with. So I know him from that type of experience that I've really always liked when he gets used. And so far this season, back-to-back weeks, 89%, 74% of the routes. In fact, he's never had below 73% of the routes in a single game. It's going to be very interesting, though, what happens when Robert Woods, the savvy veteran, comes back. We haven't had a single game yet where all of these guys, other than week 1, where Tank Dell was still kind of acclimating himself to the offense, we haven't yet had a situation where every single one of these receivers, Woods, Noah Brown, and Tank Dell, were all there. They all kind of had slot mold that can move to the outside. So it'll be very interesting. Does Robert Woods force any of them off the field? We'll find out here. But if you miss out on Tank Dell, he's gone. And again, if Tank Dell's somewhere out there, blow it all. This guy is a true bona fide league winner. Go get him. But Noah Brown is not a horrible consolation prize that you can rely on for these next couple of weeks until Robert Woods is back. And then it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But you want any piece of this offense, similar to the lesser scale Dolphins, sure. But it's one of those situations. When you're attached to CJ Stroud, you can rise in fantasy. That wraps up Wolfpack. All my top 10 pickups of the week in less than 50% of leagues in terms of their ownership. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.